And joining us now is Amber Athey, Washington editor at The Spectator. Amber, welcome back. Always good to see you. Let's talk more about the Virginia gubernatorial race. Your thoughts on what we saw last night?
Well, I think what we saw is that Glenn Youngkin ran an incredibly intelligent campaign. He combined leaning in with these grassroots cultural issues on education, parents protesting school boards over a variety of issues, starting with the school closures a year and a half ago, going into critical race theory, and also transgender bathroom policy. So they really ran the gamut on education. And Glenn Youngkin also campaigned heavily on reducing the grocery tax and other economic issues, which were a top factor for Virginians who said that they trusted Youngkin more on the economy as the Biden administration struggles to deal with supply chain shortages as well as inflation. So he combined that conservative message with a more moderate temperament, which proved to be really effective in Virginia, which typically tends to go blue in statewide elections over the past decade or so. The last time a Republican was elected to statewide office was in 2009, Bob McDonnell. So he really ran an intelligent campaign. He focused on the issues that Virginians care about, which really contrasted with Terry McAuliffe's campaign, which was about national issues and trying to pin his hope to making Glenn Youngkin the next Trump.
Yeah, and speaking of Glenn Youngkin, you know, he wasn't the only Republican to win in Virginia. Winsome Sears was elected lieutenant governor, making her the first woman and a woman of color to hold that office in the Old Dominion state. She's also an immigrant from Jamaica, a former Marine, and a wife and a mother. Let's talk about the significance of her win and what it signals.
It is certainly historic, as well as the attorney general race, where you have the first Latino elected to that office in Jason Miyares. And unfortunately, their stories have really gone untold by the larger media, even as they were reporting on other historic wins for people of color in some of these races across the country, because they don't fit the politics of what the media likes to envision when they see these historic wins. So Winsome Sears and Jason Miyares are really a sign of progress in our country. And it's especially, I think, interesting that they campaigned very heavily against critical race theory as the left tried to say that opponents of it were racist.
Yeah, and switching gears just a little bit, going up I-95, you know that New Jersey also held its gubernatorial race, but as of last night and earlier today, it was still too close to call, and as of this interview. The race, though, you know, a lot of people saw this race as current Governor Phil Murphy as the clear winner here. Let's talk about what we're seeing right now.
It is very surprising that that race is as close as it has been, and the fact that we still don't have a winner is pretty shocking. No one predicted this, and I think what we're seeing really is pandemic fatigue, and this played a role in Virginia as well, where COVID became a less and less important issue for voters, and they were less likely to go with the Democrat on those issues. Phil Murphy notoriously oversaw one of the strictest lockdowns across the country and saw revolts, grassroots campaigns from small business owners and parents over those issues as well. So the pandemic is still going to play a part, but just not in the way that Democrats would hope, because people really are trying to return to normalcy, especially since every adult is able to get the vaccine at this point.
Yeah, and before I let you go, I want to talk about Minnesota and Minneapolis. Voters rejected the provision there to lower the police force and replace it with a Department of Safety. Do you see this as a rebuke on defunding the police? What more can you say about that?
It is a huge rebuke. That, combined with the city attorney race in Seattle, where a former Democrat switched parties and ran as a Republican to oppose her former colleague who supported defunding the police. And then in Minneapolis, you have that referendum. That is a clear signal that even in liberal urban cities, people still want police protection. And across the country, really what you saw with all of these close races, as well as the win in Virginia, is that voters are rejecting progressive policies, and they want a return to the America that they know and love. And that's going to be a huge problem for Democrats in Congress as they try to push through this $1 trillion infrastructure and reconciliation package.
Well, Amber, we have to leave it right there. Thank you, as always, for your time and analysis. We always appreciate it.
Thank you.